Welcome to the Northern Bridge, where we bring you global stories through an Afro-Canadian lens. I'm your host, and before we dive into today's stories, I want to take a moment to sincerely thank each and every one of you watching right now. The response to this channel has been truly humbling. To all of you who've subscribed, your support means everything to us. You're not just viewers, you're part of this community we're building together. Each comment, like, and share tells us that there's a genuine desire for the perspective we're bringing, one that connects Canadian issues to global contexts and highlights voices that often go unheard in mainstream coverage. Your engagement guides us forward. We're committed to growing and evolving with you, providing thoughtful analysis and diverse viewpoints that matter. Today, we're covering major developments affecting Canada and its place on the world stage, Prime Minister Carney's high-stakes visit to Washington, Premier Smith's announcement about Alberta's future in confederation, troubling developments in press freedom, and Australia's recent election for insights into global political trends. As always, we'll break down what these events mean for all Canadians, with the depth and nuance that matters to our community. Before we begin, if you find our coverage valuable, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Your support allows us to continue bringing you the perspectives that matter. Let's dive in. Segment 1, Carney meets Trump, a defining moment. Today, May 5th, Prime Minister Mark Carney arrived in Washington, D.C. for what promises to be a defining moment in Canada-U.S. relations. His scheduled meeting with President Donald Trump tomorrow comes amid unprecedented tensions between our two nations. This is Carney's first official meeting with Trump since taking office following April's federal election, and the stakes could hardly be higher. The new Prime Minister faces the challenging task of defending Canada's sovereignty while trying to defuse trade disputes that threaten our economy. What mainstream coverage often misses is the complex backdrop against which this meeting takes place. President Trump has not only imposed punishing tariffs on Canadian goods, but has made the extraordinary suggestion that Canada could become the 51st U.S. state. Remarks that many Canadians found deeply offensive and concerning. In response, Carney has signaled a significant shift in Canada's approach to our southern neighbor. He's declared that the previous era of deep integration between our countries is over, emphasizing that future cooperation must be built on mutual respect and recognition of Canada's sovereignty. As a powerful symbolic gesture, Carney has invited King Charles III to deliver the speech from the throne when Parliament reconvenes on May 27th, the first time a monarch will do so since 1957. This move clearly aims to underscore Canada's status as an independent nation with its own constitutional monarchy. Tomorrow's discussions are expected to cover U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods, defense spending, and potential renegotiation of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. How Carney performs in this meeting will likely set the tone for Canada-US relations for years to come. For many new Canadians, particularly those from countries that have faced economic pressures from powerful neighbors, this situation feels uncomfortably familiar. The dynamics of power between nations can often leave smaller countries vulnerable, regardless of formal diplomatic niceties. Segment 2, Alberta's position, potential referendum. In a significant announcement that has garnered national attention, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith outlined her vision for Alberta's future relationship with the federal government today. Smith announced the creation of an Alberta Next panel that she will personally chair, tasked with exploring Alberta's future in Canada. Most significantly, while she ruled out putting separation on an official referendum ballot in 2026, Smith opened the door to including such a question if citizen-led petitions gather sufficient signatures, a move that could have profound implications for the Canadian Federation. At the heart of Smith's position is what she calls an Alberta Accord, a binding agreement that would secure several commitments from Ottawa. First, guaranteed corridor and port access to all 3 Canadian coastlines for Alberta's resource exports. Second, the repeal of numerous federal environmental regulations, including the oil and gas emissions cap, net zero electricity regulations, and the tanker ban. Third, federal restraint from imposing export taxes or restrictions on Alberta's resources without provincial consent. And fourth, equal per capita federal transfers as received by Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. What's striking about Smith's announcement is how it addresses Alberta's concerns not merely as policy disagreements, but as significant challenges to the province's economic future. She states that federal policies have impacted Alberta's investment and job opportunities, raising important questions about the balance of power between provincial and federal governments. For many immigrant Canadians who've witnessed political divisions in their countries of origin, this rhetoric raises troubling questions about national unity. Smith's careful balancing act, expressing personal opposition to separation while creating a pathway to a referendum, reflects the complex political reality in Alberta, where frustration with Ottawa has reached unprecedented levels. What's often missing from mainstream coverage is how Smith's rhetoric about respecting treaties with Indigenous peoples sits alongside threats of separation, a contradiction that merits deeper examination, as Indigenous rights and territories would be profoundly affected by any constitutional crisis. Segment 3, Press Freedom Under Pressure. In developments that have received surprisingly little attention, Canada has fallen significantly in the 2025 World Press Freedom Index, dropping from 14th place in 2024 to 21st place in 2025. This decline raises serious questions about the health of our democracy and the ability of journalists to hold power to account. According to Reporters Without Borders, the slide is attributed to several factors: economic fragility in the media industry, growing political pressures on journalists, and a deteriorating social environment for reporting. This concerning trend comes as Prime Minister Carney has expressed intentions to address what he calls a sea of misogyny, anti-Semitism, hatred, and conspiracy theories online that he describes as pollution crossing virtual borders from the United States. During the recent campaign, Carney indicated his government would take action against harmful online content, particularly when it leads to threats against Canadians in community centers, places of worship, schools, or affects children. While Carney has emphasized support for press freedom, notably in his World Press Freedom Day statement, where he called a strong, independent, and free press essential to Canadian values, many press advocates worry about potential regulatory overreach. The Prime Minister's pledge to protect reliable Canadian public forums and strengthen CBC Radio Canada comes as his government considers a third attempt at online content regulation legislation. The intersection of declining press freedom and government efforts to regulate online content creates a complex challenge. Any attempt to control online discourse, even with the best intentions, risks creating a chilling effect on legitimate journalism and free expression. For many in Canada's diverse communities, independent journalism has been essential in highlighting issues mainstream outlets often overlook. Any erosion of press freedom disproportionately affects marginalized voices, making this decline particularly concerning for multicultural Canada. Segment 4, The Australian Connection, Global Trends. The final story in our roundup takes us to Australia, where federal elections held just days after Canada's produced remarkably similar results, offering interesting global context for Canadian politics. On May 3rd, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labour Party secured a commanding victory, expanding its parliamentary majority in what some are calling the strongest result for Labour since World War II. This landslide comes just days after Mark Carney's Liberals secured their minority government here in Canada. What connects these two elections, separated by thousands of kilometers? According to analysts, both were significantly influenced by a common factor: the aggressive trade policies of US President Donald Trump. In both countries, voters rejected leaders who emulated Trump's populist approach, instead favoring candidates who promoted unity and steady governance in the face of global economic uncertainty. The threat of US tariffs created similar economic anxieties in both nations, leading voters to consolidate around center-left parties. While this parallel doesn't directly shape Canadian policy, it provides valuable insight into global political patterns. For Canadians interested in our place in the international community, these similar electoral outcomes highlight how external pressures can influence democratic choices across different continents. As we've seen today, Canada faces significant challenges on multiple fronts. Prime Minister Carney's visit to Washington, Premier Smith's outline for Alberta's future, and our decline in press freedom rankings all represent important developments for our nation. Meanwhile, Australia's election results offer interesting parallels that help us understand global political trends. For new Canadians and those with global perspectives, these developments may feel familiar, echoing political dynamics from other parts of the world. That's precisely why the Northern Bridge exists, to provide context and analysis that connects Canadian events to global trends, bringing you the stories that matter through an Afro-Canadian lens. What do you think about these developments? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis valuable, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with others who might benefit from these perspectives. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay informed and engaged.